All right. Today, let's just get started. I want to jump into it for those of you that are being here on time. I want to appreciate you guys for that. I know a lot going on. I hate even saying this, but I feel like it's the holiday season. I mean, the stores started about 2 months ago. I feel like Halloween was out 2 months ago, and so there's just a different energy in the air. And so, speaking of holiday time, I think it's the right time to talk about today's subject that we've got prepared for you. Holiday time. There's also some different tax time things that we need to talk about. For a lot of you, probably you just even filed tax returns. For anyone who's extended, which is probably a lot of you. You just well, that was due yesterday, right?
Yesterday was the day, and it was a rough
It
day.
was a painful day for a
When
lot
did
of
you
people.
start planning? A
About
week ago.
yesterday,
About a week ago.
about yesterday, yesterday morning.
Your job. I know how that goes.
It was
Tax
it
time.
was interesting. I did take a trip between the September 15th and October 15th deadlines, and my wife was asking me, "You sure you can go during tax season?" I said, "No one gets back to me between that time anyway, so why should I be around?" No,
Right.
nobody answers me, and nobody responds, and nobody gets me any documents.
It's the
So
weekend before.
it's yeah,
All that weekend.
yeah.
Might as well go on vacation all the way up until the weekend before.
3 p.m. was the last documents I got, which wasn't too bad.
Wasn't for me, right?
No, wasn't. You were good. You were good. You did good.
Well, good. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. As normal, also wanted to share we got Claudia Guzman here, who is an all-star and helps all of our new accounts and clients come on board. So thanks for being here as well, Claudia. It's good to be here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for having me. And thank you, Steve, for our CEO and president of the company. So
Excited to join you.
we're
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
So look, today as we get going, first and foremost, as always, want to share our disclosures. We are not financial advisors. We are a passive custodian, and so we won't give advice on specific investments, nor legal or tax advice either. We are, we started these a while ago now, over a year, sharing and teaching people just applicable things that you can apply in your life and in your business and in your retirement accounts. You can take this information and run with it, and or go ask your advisors about it. And that's what we hope. We hope that we can give you some information, some content to be better informed and make better decisions. So that's what we're here to do today. Thank you for joining us. So that being said, we've got a specific conversation about 401ks. It is a big question because it is the end of the year and there are some deadlines with 401ks, unlike traditional, right, and Roth accounts as far as funding and contributions. So I'm going to turn some of that time over to Steve Little and Claudia to talk about some of those things. As well, besides 401ks, I also wanted to mention, in fact, maybe even before that, I want to talk about Roths. Just almost every time I get on, I want to talk about Roths because uh, it's just the best type of account. If you can qualify and or convert your retirement account to a Roth, you should do it. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to it. When should you do it? What year should you do it? When's the right time? Do I qualify? We got lots of videos and content to talk about who qualifies, when it qualifies for you. But I will say, having a Roth IRA, when you're looking to compound real growth and paying money on the seed or on the crop when it's just barely growing, is much better than paying taxes on the full harvest crop, as we talk about, right? You pay it on the seed in the beginning with the Roth, and then, or if you don't have a Roth, if you have a traditional account, you're paying it at the end. So if your $1,000 turns into $1 million, you're paying a full $1 million on the way out. By having a Roth, knowing when to convert it, I think is one of the most important things. So for those of you listening today, if you have an IRA, an old 401k, and you want to know, is converting the right thing for me? We'll give you some content. We'll give you at least some information, some education to go back and talk to your CPA to see if it is the right thing for you. So that is my commercial about Roth IRAs. I can go on and on. If you don't have one, probably need one. If you think it's not the right time, you could be right, but you also could be wrong. You also can convert. On a side note, if you have, like, let's say $1 million or $100,000 traditional IRA, don't have to convert the whole thing this year or in any particular year. You can convert 25% of it every single year for the next 4 years, so you don't have a big tax liability. And so ask questions about Roths. They are a game changer in your financial plan. And we're talking about saving hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're compounding over a couple decades. And most of you that are listening are going to be compounding it for a couple decades. Even if you're 60 years old, no offense, I'm almost there. You are there.
10 years is a long time. And I just going to reiterate, it's not a one-time shot. I think you really need to look at Roth conversions as, where do I put this into my planning? And how much am I going to do this year in 2024? How much should I convert before the end of the year, and make some planning now and say, okay, what's next year's financial outlook look like? And how much should I do next year? And like I say, you can just pick and choose what best fits into your financial model. And you're going to pay some tax, obviously, but work it into the timing. And especially if you're, in those latter parts of your 50s and 60s, now's the time critically to be converting, because another 10 years of growth is phenomenal. It's huge. You don't want to pay tax on that. Why? I mean, you get down to those required minimum distribution years in your 70s, you don't want to pay tax.
Yeah. And I would say, again, as holiday season comes upon us, what's the best gift you can give your kids? Put them to work, get a self-directed Roth IRA account set up for them, teach them the fundamentals of investing. I mean, I can't, scream about this any more than I already am. Getting your kids involved in some kind of activity where they're earning money, putting it into a self-directed Roth IRA, they will love you very soon. When I say very soon, it might take them 10 years, but 10 years, as we all know, goes by so quickly. And so your 16-year-old now is a 26-year-old who could have $50,000 in the retirement account. I mean, how many 26-year-olds have $50,000 in your retirement account? It is such a game changer when young people can learn the fundamentals about tax savings and about really making money inside of a vehicle that's been approved. So that's my Roth. I'll get off the Roth stage here, and we can go back to questions as always. We're going to end with plenty of time to answer any questions you have. So please put it in the chat box. Alex is here to start today. And you can schedule an appointment with us if you want to learn more. If you're like, hey, look, the Roth thing, I want to hear more. Greg, I want to hear Greg talk about it more, or I want to hear somebody else talk about it, because maybe Greg isn't that exciting about Roths, but I'm so excited about Roths. So that being the case, for those of you who want to learn more, you can always find us and schedule an appointment with us. Shoot me an email, always around. So now we're going to transition into fourth quarter conversation. So 401ks, it's a hot topic. So let's just talk about in general first. People, we open up, I don't know, Claudia, how many self-directed 401ks do we open up every single month?
Probably close to 100, 150.
Every single month. So why are people opening up self-directed 401ks and not just a traditional or simpler SEP? Tell us.
Part of it is there's a larger tax advantages, larger tax savings by setting up a 401k, because obviously with an IRA, you only have so much you can contribute. But 401ks, you can do larger amounts. The critical part of this, as Greg mentioned, it's timing. You have to have planned documents in before December 31st. And as we get towards the holiday seasons, you don't want to ask your attorney or CPAs to be preparing tax documents again right at the end of the year. So
that's really different, right? I mean, most accounts, you can fund them up through April the following year.
The following year, or even possibly up through your extension period of September 15th before you actually have to fund them.
Yeah. So you can do the contribution next year, like the final contribution. But what needs to happen before the end of the year is actually have your plan documents executed and signed so that they're valid with the IRS, so that they know that you had that plan. So even if you don't have the full contribution that you're doing for the full year, you can always do a small contribution, maybe $1,000, $2,000 to start the plan, start the actual account, and then you can do the full contribution when you do the tax planning with your CPA, October 15th. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
So
no,
like I say, we just passed the tax deadline, and there were several tax clients that says, well, what else can I do? How can I get some tax savings? Can't I put more money into my retirement? And I'm like, if you had a 401k plan set up for your private company, you could have put more money away and you could have saved 30% tax rate or 25, whatever rate they were at. And why can't I do it? I thought I could contribute all the way up until October 15th. And I explained that you did not have the plan documents in place in 2023. So your plan could not have started.
So
that's critical.
Real quick takeaway. I'm going to pause on these bullet points. I think are really critical. If you're interested in a 401k, one of the main reasons people like the 401k is they can contribute way more, like an incredibly amount more. And I think the numbers are almost $65,000, $70,000.
It's basically 25% of your self-employment income. And I know that kind of is tough to calculate for some people, but it's really what you're paying Social Security and Medicare on. That's your earnings income. You take 25% of that number, that's what you can go up to about
60 or $70,000. And so that's a huge deal, right? In a traditional type of account, in a SEP or a simple, it's probably about half that amount.
And if you're at a tax rate paying 30%, it's like 30% savings. So if you're saving 20,000 in tax, you're already getting a 20,000 return on your $60,000.
So first and foremost, those of you listening here today that are the one of the main reasons why you might be interested in creating a self-directed 401k is you are now able to contribute a lot more. Number two, deadline. You have to have your funding plan docs. Plan docs by the end of the year. So now we're talking about 45 days, a little less than that. Wait,
it's less because 60? we do work with a third-party administrator, so we have to give them time to actually execute the plans.
So it's only a month or two. That's why timing is why we're doing this right now. If you've ever thought about doing that, contributing more money, the 401k is great for contributions. Now, what are some other benefits that come from? Why would someone want a 401k self-directed rather than a traditional or even Roth? What are some other benefits you guys want to share?
I love borrowing money. So you have a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, you cannot borrow from yourself. If you have a 401k, there are formulas in place where you can actually borrow the money.
Now, can anyone have a 401k?
No, you have to have a self-employed earners. You have to have a business.
You have to have a business. And that's the other thing. So if you have a business, you most likely can create a self-directed 401k.
Things you have to be careful when you have a business. If you have employees, or if you have ownership in multiple businesses that have employees, you have to do some discrimination testing to make sure you're not excluding anybody. The IRS doesn't want you just to benefit to the exclusion of your other workers or your other W-2 employees. So there are obviously actuaries that'll go through and analyze ownership, and if you have employees in various companies, whether you have to include them or not. And that's important to know also.
Then you had mentioned the loan as well. Let's talk about that for a minute. It is is it the only type of retirement account that you can take a loan off against? I think it is.
401ks can. So the one that
I'm just saying just 401ks.
Yes, just 401ks.
And that's once again, back to plan documents. You want to make sure that's in your plan documents that you can borrow money.
So only 401ks.
Our specialist will go over the application. That's part of the application. It says, do you want to have the option of having the loan? That's when Cooper Coons, our third-party administrator, will know to include that in the plan documents. So including that will give you the option. And whenever you want to go ahead and take out a loan, you can take up to $50,000 or 50% of the account value, whichever is less. And it's a loan application that we help you do. It has an amortization table. You have to pay yourself back at least once a quarter, but we recommend once a month so that you have something that's recurring and that you're used to. And you can go ahead and pay yourself back. Prime +1 is what the IRS recommends, but you can go lower. I mean, prime is a little high right now, so we will accept anything between 3 to 8%. And that will go back into your account. So a lot of people think that you're paying us like a fee or whatever.
Wait, so we don't get that interest rate at Horizon Trust?
No. Did I not tell you that?
We do not. We don't.
It goes into your account.
A lot of people think that because there are other organizations that have that loan option, and that goes back into the pockets of the organizations, not for us. It actually grows your retirement account that way. So it's a nice little perk.
That's a big deal. And so a lot of people, when establishing or contributing to a retirement plan, I feel like they're worried that money's gone, meaning you can't touch it without penalty. 401k is one of those unique things where you can take the loan. And like Claudia just said, I've seen people take loans for anything. It could be for a vacation, not what I recommend, but it could be for education, could be for anything you'd like. Paying a bad gambling debt. Again,
pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes. Don't recommend any of that. But what I will say, What's great about it is you have access to it for an emergency. And I think that's the important thing. I think a lot of people are hesitant to maybe put an extra five or $10,000 into a retirement account. You're like, oh man, well, I need to save that. And I think there's some truth to that. You need to have, a savings bucket. But sometimes people go so heavy into a savings bucket and they have not created the retirement account. And so I think that's really important. Create your retirement account, start funding it. If you do run into a problem, you can borrow against it for, a car, some kind of accident or health thing you can take out of these accounts. And I think that's a critical thing. And then the interest, I was joking, we at Horizon Trust do not get the interest. You pay yourself back. So that money that you pay back plus the interest rate all goes back into your 401k plan, which I think is super powerful.
Give you an interesting example. And these are two of my daughters. And not that I'm not a salesperson, so I didn't promote this, but my one daughter had a rollover from a retirement plan at a hospital when she left. And she rolled it over to basically her 401k plan that she set up for her own business that she had. And she wanted to grow her business. She has a hat business where she has hats that she does in the medical field. And she wanted to buy some inventory. So I said, well, why don't you borrow from your 401k and buy these hats? And so what she did, she borrowed the money and she's paying herself back every month. But she basically took that, and it was only $10,000, but she took the $10,000 and bought 1,000 hats that she had produced.
That's great.
Manufactured. And so, like say, that's what she used the money for. My other daughter just started a business and she was so excited to set up, and she's like, I'm making a contribution every month. She's not going to put away $60,000 this year.
Yeah.
But she's going to probably put away $2,000. She's going to put $100 a month. And she's so excited. It's auto drafted out of my account and it's going into my 401k. So she's pretty excited about it.
That probably makes you excited as a father,
That's,
right?
Yeah. So
in today's world,
I'm off the hook.
Yeah.
I'm off the hook. These girls are going to take care of themselves.
I don't know if you're off the hook. I don't know. You're a little aggressive. Yeah.
Inheritance there. But it's just like, say, you don't have to, you think about $60,000 tax advantage. Well, not everyone can take advantage of that. But even, and then, like say, my youngest daughter, and we talk about this, we talk about girl math all the time, and not to stereotype, but she says, if I go to the store and I buy something on sale, I'm already ahead because I got it on sale.
That is girl math.
That is girl math.
That is correct.
Yes. Or when she orders something on Amazon, she goes, yeah, there was some American Express points on there that were actually mine, because that's girl math, because it was like free money. And I'm like, you're right. It's free money to you. But to her, that's girl math. And so the way to do it, things seem like if you contribute $2,000 to your 401k at your tax rate of, let's say 30%, you're going to save a few $100 there. I mean, it's just girl math.
I feel like girl math should be a Wikipedia term here. So can you please tell me what does Melanie say about the girl math? Is it similar?
She just
This is Steve's wife.
Yeah, she just rolls her eyes and say, I don't know. She just, well, how much did the kids put on the credit card?
You're not off the hook.
It
doesn't sound like it.
But I mean, anytime you can get a return on your money like that, I mean, obviously your tax rate is your tax rate. Some people are in lower, but some people are only 10% tax rate. But again, if you're paying 10% savings on your taxes, that's still saving 10% return on your money.
So the other thing on the same subject that people can use is I've seen them use is high or expensive debt. So if you've got a credit card, and you've got a high interest rate on a credit card, or like a hard money loan. Myself, I've borrowed money at 10, 12, 14% on a real estate deal. But what if I could just take a loan and pay only 7% on the money rather than, so just
pay yourself 7%.
Paying myself 7% and then saves that, let's call it $50,000 on a loan that I might have been paying 12 or 14%. You just do that simple math alone. That's a $400 or $500 a month savings. Might not sound like a lot, but over time, if I could save an extra $500, put it away, just use our compound calculator, we can all figure out what that means. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars just by making little tweaks in your financial plan. So, anything else on these 401ks?
I see one interesting place is, a lot of people who work for many, many years and accumulate a sizable 401k working as a W-2 employee. And then they get closer towards retirement, and then they retire and they start their own business. And they have that 401k either sitting at their old employer or it's a pension plan. You can roll those over to your own 401k plan versus rolling them over into an IRA. And once again, once it gets into that 401k plan, it gives you options to borrow the money, some different options that are more available to you.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else in the 401ks? I know there's a lot of questions coming in that we can probably start fielding some of the questions that will lead us to some other bullet points here. But anything else that you wanted to add on this, Claudia?
No, I think if you have any questions or if you're wondering if you qualify for a 401k, set up an appointment with either your specialist that you already have here, or if you're one of our newer clients, then go ahead and set up an appointment with the link that Alex has put on there, and we'll be able to quickly tell you if you qualify for a 401k.
Yeah, it's a simple question, simple phone call with us. We're hands on, so it's not all online and virtual. And sorry for those of you that don't like that. We do have that option as well, but we really like to know our clients. This is your money. This is your future. Spending an extra 5 or 10, 15 minutes with someone on the phone can go a long way and give you some, give you some resolve on some maybe concerns you might have. And as always, if you've got a 401k at all or an old 401k retirement plan somewhere else, get a hold of us. We'll let you know if that does qualify to self-directed. And I didn't start with this, and so I'll transition it to this as we talk about and answer some of these questions. For those of you that are first-time listeners, which usually about half of you are, the self-directed plan basically is what we do at Horizon Trust. We help individuals get their retirement funds, unlock them basically, and put them in an account for you in trust at Horizon Trust on behalf of your name, but then you then to go direct those funds into alternative assets. Sometimes traditional as well, the stock market as well, but a lot of our clients invest in real estate, in notes or wholesale or flipping, a lot of lending. I'd say a lot of people syndicate different deals. And so if you're one of those people that are listening to this, most likely you're looking to do something different with your retirement account. Precious metals, that's up, right? With all the politics, I've seen more precious metals purchases with clients than I have in a long, long time. Bitcoin as well. I feel like that's something as well that people look at using with their self-directed IRA. So we're here to help and guide you with your process of what you want to invest in. We don't make that decision for you. You tell us what you're looking for. So that being said, let's hit some of these questions. I know there's been a lot that's come in.
I know, just before you go on there, I know just talk about, everybody talks about diversification. And so when people think about diversifying, well, I'm going to buy some bonds, I'm going to buy some stocks, mutual funds, and diversify within my stock portfolio. I mean, you really need to consider taking a part of your retirement and put it in fixed income like promissory notes or other types of investments. Or maybe you're like, say, maybe you like cryptocurrency and not putting all your retirement in that, but a little bit, and putting a little bit in promissory notes or real estate. And like I say, what you're doing is diversifying and protecting yourself against that stock market fluctuation. Even with stocks and bonds, I mean, we've had an interesting bond market recently,
yeah,
as well as stock market's kind of up. So I mean, yeah, everyone should be pretty happy, but you know it's going to fall. There's going to be a dip, but you just got to have a balance of your diversification.
Well, I think that's why I love self-directing. I feel like every time I think I'm calling the market and I'm picking the when to sell and buy, I'm usually almost always wrong. I'm not an expert at that. I'm better at real estate, and those things change not as drastically typically, right? In '08 was different, right? But in general, it moves slower than in the stock market, where tomorrow someone can wake up and say something, and the market completely crashes or an account. So, anyways, let's jump into some questions. Claudia, I know you've got your laptop there, so I thought maybe you'd jump into some things that you're seeing there.
Oh, I'm going to read them off of the screen because I couldn't log in here. But I have somebody asking, can I use my sdira LLC to JV with my personal LLC for real estate investments? Fred Mattel is asking.
So can you use your IRA,
LLC.
checkbook LLC, with your non-IRA LLC? The answer is a little bit more complicated, but I would say yes, you can. But there's got to be someone else involved in the management of that asset. So you can't be paying yourself a salary. You can't pay your one LLC. Let's say that your checkbook IRA LLC invests 100,000, and so is your other entity. Let's say it's 100,000. Well, you got to give the same rate of return to both entities. You can't give one more than the other, and you also can't pay yourself a commission on any of the assets or any kind of salary, etc. So you're just opening yourself up for a little bit more risk or liability if you do something inaccurate. So that's the longer answer to your question.
Okay, let me go. Melissa is asking, I have a 401k, but I don't have access to it. Need some help with it. Okay, Melissa, we'll go ahead and set up an appointment with us, and we'll be able to go ahead and go over that with you.
Contact your custodian and find out exactly what it is. And like I say, every 401k has specific plan documents. And I saw one question on there about, how old do I have to be to roll over my pension plan? And every plan is different. I mean, there are tax advantages if you're over 59 and a half to roll it over, and you can only do it once a year, those kinds of things. So every pension plan is going to have certain documents and certain wording in it. And that's why you have to go to actually your administrator and say, okay, what can I do? But a lot of them provide opportunities, especially if you have enough years of service, to roll over or take a part of it and roll it over to your own 401k or an IRA.
All right. So we have somebody asking, hi, Greg and team. Can we open a whole life policy within our current Roth and let it self-sustain? To be clear, not coming out of Roth. So that's a little confusing. Yeah.
Let's just talk about that, though. That is a question people ask. I don't know that I'm going to answer this one right, so you might have to clarify that question. And thanks for saying that we're super awesome. You are too. Thank you. I like that. But that being the case, if you have a 401k, self-directed 401k, you could take a loan out and then take that money and put it into a whole life policy. And you still have to pay that loan back out of your pocket over the next 5 years. But you can do that or vice versa. I see it more the other way. I see individuals opening up a whole life policy, putting cash in there, taking a loan out against the whole life policy, to contributing and creating a Roth, self-directed Roth account. That I see happen all the time. Now you have both buckets. You have that compounding effect inside the whole life policy. And now you have a Roth account that has money in it that you're now investing and it's compounding tax-free at whatever you invest in. So you can, that's how those two typically work pretty well together.
Can you speak to opening a company with Roth and how that works within a Roth? So they are asking for checkbook LLCs, how that works.
Go ahead. This is you.
Me? Oh. Yeah. So, sorry, I'm trying to log in so that I can look at your questions because I'm like, good thing I have good eyesight. I don't think can you guys see it?
I can read every word. What are you talking about? Come on.
I just had cataract surgery. I could see that perfectly.
You probably see the best out of all of us.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is pretty clear to me right now.
Setting up a checkbook LLC is super simple. What you would do is you would call your IRA specialist, whoever you work with at Horizon Trust. We do work with a third party that sets up LLCs. We don't set up LLCs here at Horizon Trust, but we would go ahead and set it up with them. They would do the operating agreement for you. It's a specialized operating agreement that has all of the prohibited transaction clauses that include an IRA and makes it able to use IRA funds. It also will be named in the Horizon Trust for the benefit of, and then your IRA. So we'll go ahead and help. Well, that company will help you get all of that established, and then we will go ahead and send the funds from your IRA or your Roth IRA into that LLC. Super simple process, takes between 24 to 48 hours as long as we get everything established in time and you are communicating with our company, and then we'll go ahead and have you funded in no time.
What I like about checkbook LLCs, it kind of speeds up the whole process and allows you to control when and how fast you want to invest. Because right now, what you'd have to do is come and do a direction investment with Horizon Trust. We'd have to verify the funds and then verify the transaction, the banking information. It takes several days, obviously, which is pretty quick, but it does take time and a lot of phone calls and a lot of text messages.
And those are all things that you'll still do on behalf of your checkbook LLC, but you're just doing all of it on your own. And rather than right now, we have hundreds, thousands every week, but hundreds of transactions every day. Mm-hmm. So your transaction's not the only one we're working on. So if you have the checkbook LLC, you can focus. You spent the whole day on that, do your due diligence, double check everything, make sure it's done correctly, documentation, etc. Then you send out that money. It is a more controlling kind of way of using your retirement funds.
It is.
Great.
All right. If you have $100,000 account, then take $50,000 as a loan. Can the $50,000 left over from the loan be used to invest, or is it held as collateral? That's a great question.
That's a great
Yeah, I've
question.
never had that question. That's
Yeah.
a good question. No, the great news on this is it does not have to be used as collateral. You can invest that money. So the 50,000 that is left, make sure everyone understands. If you have $100,000 account or whatever, 100,000 or more, and you borrow $50,000 out of there, everything from the 50,000 above that's left in your retirement account, you can go and invest that in different asset classes like we're talking about today. Absolutely.
And I think it's critical. Then once again, this is a $50,000, in this case, a $50,000 loan that needs to show payments coming back regularly. And we recommend monthly just to keep it going processing. But if you don't do that, that becomes a taxable event, and then you have to pay tax on that 50,000. So it's really simple. You're paying yourself back interest. It goes back into your account, and then you can reinvest that payment every month.
Yeah. And if you can't make the payment, all you have to do is call us and go over your situation, and we'll try our best to go ahead and not report it. There's always situations that come up, there's hardships that come up. So just keep in contact with us and make sure that you're telling us what's going on, and we'll give you the best course of action. So we'll give you guidance. We're not tax advisors, so we can't go ahead and tell you that it's not going to be taxable, but we'll be able to work with you in your situation depending on what's going on. Awesome. So I have Steve that's asking, do you have to be a certain age to transfer pension? I think you answered that one, right?
Most of them are 59 and a half, but some do allow for years of service that you are allowed to, once you're vested in, that you can take out certain amount of your vested amount, even though you may not be 59 and a half.
What if you're no longer with the company?
If you're no longer a company, right away you can transfer it. Typically, it transfers to an IRA if you don't have your own 401k plan. But if you say left unemployment and started a business and then can set up a 401k, you can go from a 401k to a 401k. But typically, sometimes there's an IRA in between.
And the best way for us to identify if we are able to transfer it is for you to send us a copy of your statement. We have IRA specialist that will go over the statement with you to make sure that it is transferable and that we can go ahead and set you up with the correct account. So when you get on the phone with them, if you have your statement, anybody can log on. Everybody has phones that they can go on their apps for. And if you send us that, we'll be able to kind of guide you as to what we can do for you. So I have Janelle that's asking, I have a 401k with a former employer fully vested. I have stocks and bonds in the account. If I want to use the funds to invest in real estate, I will need to sell some stocks and bonds in order to purchase and place for down payment. Thus, I will be taxed, and then I will need to pay back the account from the rental income received.
So I think that first part is the question is that will I need to sell some stocks and bonds in order to purchase and place for down payment? Yes.
Because you got to convert it to cash.
You will need to,
but within your 401k, you will not
but
need
it won't
to.
be taxed. Yeah.
So what you'll need to do is you have a traditional 401k now. You need to set up a self-directed 401k, convert your stocks and bond to cash, transfer that to, let's say, Horizon Trust Company as a self-directed, and then it's not taxable because it's custodian to custodian. And then you could use that money to invest in real estate as a self-directed real estate investment.
And by the way, good question. And don't let this, be too much for you and overwhelm you. This is something we deal with every single day. So you will not have to pay taxes on that account. If we understand the question correctly, all you'll do is transfer it over. Our team will help you do that. It's a simple process. We do it every single day. Get that old 401k set up with the self-directed. We'll handle the process. You can be on the call listening to us as we do that. It is an easy process. We do it every single day.
And we also have a stock to stock transfer. So you can set up some of your stock portfolio transferred over to a self-directed with Axos. And then you don't have to sell the stock until you're ready to buy that piece of real estate. So you can still take advantage of the market if you want to stay in that instead of having idle cash. And then when you're ready, you sell those stocks and bonds and you have cash. But it all stays within a 401k non-taxable event.
Yeah. And also a neat thing is that you don't have to liquidate all of your funds. If you wanted to leave some in those stocks and bonds, if they're performing well for you, then you can leave it there and then just liquidate whatever you're trying to transfer over and do self-directing with, and have two types of accounts. The only thing that you can do is over contribute. So your total contribution limits are going to be a total of the two, but you can always diversify that way. So we go over that with you as long as we see a statement, and we'll be able to go give you the guidance that you need. I have Lewis that's asking, I just started my account. Excited to start investing, smiley face. Rolled over my employer 401k to Horizon Trust. So that was just a shout
I
out.
love it.
Alex, thank you.
Yeah.
He's highlighting the questions for me, and that was not a question, but that's awesome.
Thank
you
job,
so
Lewis.
much, Lewis.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Thanks for being here today too, by the way.
I have Robert that's saying, I have a 401k with my present W-2. If I borrow 50% to invest, do I need to pay the loan back before I quit my job? That's a great question.
We got to make sure your employer's not on this podcast. But
they're gonna be like, I'm investing in you, and over here you are trying to. The answer to that is yes. You do have to pay off the loan before we transfer it over to another qualified account. If not, you can take a distribution. At that point, you will be taxed on it. So we can go over that at the time of the consultation, just to see what your options are. Every once in a while, you don't have to pay it back, and they can go ahead and or you can transfer the loan, but it's very far and few between. Usually you do have to pay the loan back.
And depending on the timing of you quitting your job and making this investment, you may want to quit your job, then roll over your 401k to Horizon Trust, and then you can borrow the money.
Yeah, that's another strategy you can do for sure. All right. I have Lewis again that's asking, are there any differences or limits to contributions to solo Ks versus SDIRAs? Same as traditional IRA versus employer? That's a great question. Do you want to go over the contribution limits between IRAs and 401ks?
We can. And like I say, a lot of it is dependent on what we call your self-employment or taxable earnings from self-employment. So even though people may have investment income and other income in their tax return, they got to make sure that what they're looking at is what they're paying Social Security and Medicare on. So there are differences. I know that that's a pretty small print for me.
So traditional IRAs, the
$7,000 limit. And then they have a catch-up provision for those that have reached that age qualification of another $1,000. Roths are always $1,000, also $7,000, sorry, with $1,000 catch-up. SEP contributions up to $68,000. Simple IRA contributions are $16,000. HSA contributions, if you're interested in that, a little over $4,150 in various plans. A solo 401k is $69,000. And once again, this has to be 25% of some number. So you're going to have to be in somewhere the 300,000s, various number of taxable income. So you're paying income tax. But once again, if we do some girl math, you're going to pay $69,000 in contribution. Tax rate is 30%. You're going to save 30% of that $69,000 just in taxes.
And we have all of our contribution limits on our website. So if you have any questions or want to go ahead and browse around, horizontrust.com, we have a compound calculator that you can play with, that you can go ahead and see how much money you can make, what the difference is. What do you say? The Gen Zs are making 12% and the millennials are making more like
15 to 20%.
Yeah.
Because they don't ever lose money.
Yeah.
That's my son, he just, everything he does. No, that's young people still get banged up a little bit.
Curb enthusiasm. You have to keep them on it. So.
I'm just trying. Maybe it's a little glass half empty sometimes, because sometimes life is hard. So that's why I always tell people, it's like, you don't have to make 20% of your money. Like if you can just make 10% compounded, don't pay taxes on it. That's like making 15%. So absolutely.
What's nice about these online calculators is it will give you the differences between a solo 401k, a SEP IRA, a traditional IRA. They'll give you all the different options and maximizing once you put all the numbers in. So I like that.
All right.
Do we have any more questions from
Lewis? You're funny. You're good. Good questions. And welcome to the Horizon family. All right. Is the wait period after paying off a loan before you can take another loan from a solo? What is the wait period after paying off a loan before you can take another loan from a solo 401k? I don't think there's any wait period, right? Once you pay it off, you can pull it right back out. Also,
there is a wait period or formula based on new loan.
On a new loan.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is, what is the borrowing percentage? Yeah, the 1 year.
Yeah. You can't hear Alex back there, but he knows the calculation. And by the way, so does most of our team. So when you call in, we'll help you with that. But you can take a new loan out after it's been paid off.
And obviously, this is guy math now. It's kind of like you have to take the value of it less your loan times a certain percentage. It's way too complicated.
I like the girl math better, by the way.
I love girls.
We are more optimistic.
More optimistic. We
find ways.
Better terms, I feel like. So nothing wrong with a little girl math. All right. All right. What else do we have here? Next question. After leaving employment, if I have 20,000, is that what it says? No work affiliate?
20,000, yeah.
Through Fidelity, to transfer that, does that have to go in to an HSA with you, or transferring your IRAs we have with you? If it's with your prior employer, which is what you're saying here, you can move that account, that 401k or old account, into your account with us, your IRA with us.
Yeah, not a health savings account.
Not into your health savings account.
He might be saying that he has a health savings account with his employment. So if he does, it does have to stay HSA.
Oh, it does.
But we can definitely
transfer it. If it is HSA, it needs to stay HSA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if it's a 401k, then we would transfer it into an IRA here, or we would set you up with a 401k if you qualify. If you're self-employed and you don't have any employees in the company for the sponsor company, then we would set you up with a 401k.
Good questions. I like it. Okay. You guys are great questions, by the way. So thank you. This is probably my favorite part of the webinar.
So Janice, okay, Janelle is asking, if I transfer over an SD 401k, if I sell a stock position in the 401k to use as a down payment as a real estate, then will the rental income need to be directed? Oh, this is a great question. Would need to be directed back into the 401k. I understand an LLC will be used to acquire the property. So if she has a checkbook LLC, she buys a property, will all the rental income have to go back into the LLC?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
keep it all separate and segregated, and they say that's your own little retirement investment account. And like I say, don't commingle anything. Keep all your rentals in there. Yes.
And you can, let's say you had a repair that you had to do for the rental property. You can use the checkbook LLC. You'll have a debit card. You can go ahead and use that so that you can do any kind of repair to the property, and then just keep invoices and all of the documentation in that LLC. Everything for that property does have to be done by that checkbook LLC or your IRA directly. So because it does belong to the IRA, you have to keep everything separate from your personal affairs. Or you have to JV with somebody that can be a private money lender to do the repairs or whatever the case may be.
Never do the repairs yourself.
Never do the repairs
yourself. All right, next question, fees. In fact, on our website, horizontrust.com, you can actually click on our fees. But let me just explain our fees. The question is if I transfer over my old 401k, part of it, not all of it, or this applies to any retirement account, just part of it over to us, not all of it. How are your fees based at Horizon Trust Company? The fees are based upon the asset value. So if you move over $100,000 or $50,000, we have an asset fee. And so that percentage is no more than 1%. And I would say the average asset fee is closer to about 70 basis points, which means about 0.75%. And to put that in perspective, most of you, wherever you are investing now, if it's Fidelity or somewhere else, I saw some people talk about Fidelity, you're paying anywhere from 1 to 3% per year in your different costs and expenses. At Horizon Trust Company, it's a sliding scale. If you go to our website again, you can see it. But the larger the account, the smaller the basis points. So the smaller the fee. So most of our clients are, I would say 80% of our clients are paying less than 1% per year. And the goal is not only to pay less in fees, but also to make a little better return. So those two things combined is stellar for your retirement account. Last thing I'll say about fees, because we always get passionate about it here, because we've changed our fee schedule a few years ago, 4 years ago, is it's all inclusive. The only extra fees you'll ever pay with us are tax forms, if you've got different tax forms that you need. Otherwise, if you tell us or ask us to send out funds in a wire every single day, I know you hate hearing that, but it's the case, because we do eat those fees. We will do that for you. So your annual fee with us is all inclusive. So good question. Thank you.
Yep. And the fees can come out of your retirement account funds when they get here. So you don't have to be out of pocket. You can be if you wanted to leave your retirement account growing and with the funds that they have, you can do that. But if not, we can transfer, let's say you're transferring $100,000 from Fidelity. We won't take any fees until the $100,000 get here. At that point, we'll deduct the fees from the account and you won't be out of pocket for anything.
Right.
Okay, I have Dan that is asking, have you had any clients invest with SuperVest?
Not familiar.
I'm not
No.
familiar with
Quick
SuperVest.
answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay, what else here? We're gonna wrap up in a couple minutes. Let's see if there's last couple questions.
Janelle is asking, do you partner with a CPA firm or have any recommendations? If not, no worries, just wondering.
We don't have any direct affiliations with third party. We do have some that prepare the 5500s that are part of the 401k plans. Those are third party affiliates who prepare tax documents. But as far as recommendations, like say, we don't go that far as recommending investment or tax advice. We can give you guidance the best we can, but like I say, we encourage everyone to have what I call their own board of directors and their own advisors, whether they're tax advisors, legal advisors, real estate advisors, insurance advisors, people they can counsel with and get the best advice. And a lot of those people are not going to be familiar with self-directing. In fact, they're probably going to be more discouraging towards it because they don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a very, very it's
Like
something that
it's a niche kind of thing. Even though it's been around for over 40 years, it's still new for most of America.
She's also asking, are the fees tax deductible? I don't know the answer to that. The fees for, like, if they pay through a credit card for their IRA fees, or is that tax
No, I mean,
no. What about a 401k? Because it's a tax,
no.
I mean, it's a business, no? Okay.
No, basically they go on their documents. I mean, they can go retire, they can deduct them within the 401k, yes. But if you do an IRA or things like that, there's no place really on the tax forms that you could take them now that the standard deductions are so high. But within the business, yes. You know, your business, there's a business expense to set up a retirement plan, definitely.
Right.
But not if you pay it within your 401k. You have to pay it outside of your 401k to deduct it.
So if they pay with a credit card for our
Correct.
annual fees, they can do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. David is asking, with the Checkbook LLC, an investment with United Lift, does the remarketing agreement still come to Horizon Trust and I write the check for the investment? How does the contract process work? So when we transfer the funds over to the Checkbook LLC, any investment that you're doing now for the IRA or for the 401k will be in the name of the LLC. So you would do the contract in the name of the LLC, you would close in the name of the LLC, and all of the profits or anything that needs to go into the LLC goes back into the LLC. And that's how you
you'd write the check from the LLC to that investment. So, and that's all that you would, so that's what's great about a checkbook LLC. You control all that. So you control all the document preparations and all that and make sure it's titled in your name. We obviously can look at it and help you, but essentially you write a check and the money comes back to that LLC checking account.
Great question. All right, let's do one more question here as we wrap up.
All right. I have Crystal here that's asking, so if I have rental income from the property within my SDIRA and I send it to an external brokerage account, what happens if I need to pull it back, if I need to pull money back to do a repair? You would have to liquidate some funds from the brokerage account, then send it back into the LLC, and then you can go ahead and pay for the repair that way. It's important that you don't pay for the repair from personal funds.
Yeah, I think that's a big mixed cue. People will put all their money into buying the asset, and then they've got a budget for the rehab. Then all of a sudden they go over budget. They need an extra $2,000 or $5,000, and they try to pay it out of their own pocket. You can't commingle that IRA money with expenses of non-IRA money. That would be prohibited. What you can do though is borrow the money. If I was in that position where I was all in and had no more rehab money, my IRA could borrow from a non-recourse perspective from another company or individual. That you can do with terms. So that would be the way to get around it. So great questions today. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Alex, for your feedback over there too from behind the scene. And you, Steve and Claudia, thanks for joining us today. And look, as always, we appreciate you. We appreciate your business. We appreciate our clients. And this is for you. You guys have asked for this, and we enjoy doing it, frankly. You stump us sometimes, and we appreciate that. We try to come back. If we didn't answer one of your questions adequately, please shoot us an email. Or if you are new to this and you don't have an IRA, a self-directed IRA, but you do have an old 401k or some kind of retirement account, and you want to self-direct, please schedule an appointment with us and our team. We're here to answer questions and get your account set up. It's a really simple process, and we'll hold your hand through it.
Great. Thanks for being here.
Have a great Wednesday. Go Cubs. Thanks, guys.
Mets are going to do it.
Guys.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.